क्षणम् भक्ताभीष्टवराभयप्रदकरम् कौपीनमात्रोज्ज्वलम् स्वात्मानन्दरसानुभूतिविवशम् सर्वानवद्याङ्गकम् श्रीमन्तं श्रीरमणेश्वरं गुरुवरं योगासनाध्यासितं ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् ध्यायेत् श्रीरमणेश्वरम् हृदयकुहरमध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहमहमिति साक्षातात्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वतामच्युतव पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्। Namo Ramana. On this Thursday Satsangh, which is usually conducted by Nandakumarji and Venkateshji, due to their personal reasons, they are not able to conduct the session with their permission and blessings. We will be, as usual, looking at the verses which has been selected for us for the evening by Revatima from the book Guru Vachaka Kovai. We usually look into 2 verses. We read out the verses, meditate on those verses by the abundant grace of the Master, and then we have a 10 minutes Vichara session. And today, the first verse that has been selected for us, and we will have the concluding remarks or summing up remarks today by Ujwal Jagadeesh. And Vaibhavji and Pratnama would be offering the Ashtottara Puja or Ashtottara to Bhagavan. Today's verse that has been selected for us from the book Guru Vachaka Kovai is from the chapter Investigation into the Truth, the verse number 308, and the topic is the worshipping the Guru. 308 goes like this: as worship of the feet of the Guru simultaneously destroys the twin vasanas accumulated over endless aeons, and as it brings forth in the heart the dawn of Jnana, that is the cause for our not being frightened of indescribable ignorance. That worship, performed with devotion and reverence, alone is the befitting true mantra for noble disciples in whom dispassion is strong. I repeat again: as worship of the feet of the Guru simultaneously destroys the twin vasanas accumulated over endless eons, and as it brings forth in the heart the dawn of Gnana, that is the cause for our not being frightened of indescribable ignorance. That worship, performed with devotion and reverence, alone is the befitting true mantra for noble disciples in whom dispassion is strong. Muruganar Swami says, the twin vasanas are the auspicious and inauspicious, Shubha and Ashubha vasanas. As worship of the feet of the Guru by itself enables disciples to attain the excellent benefits of mantra yoga, which are destruction of the mind and jnana, that worship is said to be true mantra. Now, the worship of the feet of the Guru. The, there are two aspects in which we can look at the feet of the Guru. If you look at from the manifestation aspect, the Guru is nothing but the manifestation of the Brahman. And therefore, if we look at the Guru as the embodied one and take his feet, we surrender to it, the devotion to it with reverence. With reverence meaning regarding the Guru to be everything for one's life, as a guide, as a guru, as a father, mother, as everything. When we have reverence and devotion to such a guru, to the Guru, the manifested field, manifested one, that is one approach. That is one way of devotion and reverence. But what Bhagavan refers to here as the Guru is Brahman only, and the feet of the Guru is attending to the I, which is continuous in the Gnana Marga, in the Vichara Marga. So the devotion to the I, the devotion to that continuity, the unbroken truth, which is referred to, the Brahman is referred to as Satyam Gnanam Anantam. The Satyam being the ever present, that is our existence, the one that which we call the existence. Because the Anantam, the Brahman is Anantam, the quality of the Brahman is Anantam, which is whole, which is in everything. All objects that we see is Antam, it is Iti. This is all, it is limited to this. Even if I take this body, which is an object, it is limited to this. Anything outside of it, it is not this body. So, whatever is across everything, across all objects, which is not limited by anything, the Anantam. Now, what could be Anantam? Swami Sarvapriyananda very beautifully discusses it out. He says that the only thing which can have the Anantam, no objects can become Anantam. It will all become limited one. Therefore, moment I limit myself to the body, I become a limited being. Though I am the Brahman, though I am the truth itself, pure existence itself, though that existence is across everything, it is giving existence to everything. Therefore, it is having that Ananta nature. It is not giving existence only to my body. It is giving existence to everything. So, though it is like that, but because we identify with this body, we feel that I am only existing in here, not outside of this. So the Anantam, though we are, because we make it limited to the body, therefore Bhagavan keeps on repeating, I am this body idea is the one that we need to transcend. And therefore, when we limit ourselves to the body, The existence also gets limited to the body. The knowledge also gets limited to the body. So the Satyam also becomes only this is Satya. I am this, Dileep. Therefore, and I have a timeline. I was born such and such a date. I will die such and such a date. So the Anantam, though I am Anantam, moment I identify myself with an object, not necessarily a physical object, even a mental object, a thought. Moment I limit, attend to that, what is Anantam becomes limited. And not only that, it becomes something which is perishable in nature, which appears to become perishable. Like moment I identify with the body, I know I am born, I am going to die. Therefore, I will not be, I am not the true entity. I am not the Satya Vastu. I am a Mithya Vastu. That's how it becomes. And my knowledge again is limited knowledge. Therefore, I am I'm an Agnani. I'm not having the full Gnana. This is the thing that we get into. And here it is trying to say that if we keep on attending by inquiring who am I, what is that I refer to as I? And when we recognize that we are referring always to that pure existence, and all knowledge is known only through awareness, therefore the awareness is across, again, it is an Ananta Vastu. It is not only limited to anything, it knows everything. So it is Ananta. So we know, we then understand the existence, the awareness. In reality, it is not limited to this body. It is as it is. It alone is. That is the only fact. That is the only truth. That is the only thing which is. All other things are the ideas and concepts, thoughts, including the I thought, which limits the awareness to the body, which is what Bhagavan calls the Chit Jada Granthi. That is the one which limits the consciousness to the body. Therefore, when we inquire who am I and we keep on practicing, we start seeing this defect that is happening, the awareness getting entangled with the body idea to the object is the source of all other things that I don't know. I forget I am the Satya Vastu. I forget I am the Gnana Vastu. I forget I am the Ananta Vastu. Ananta. I become something which is a limited one. Uh, To say Vastu is also a wrong thing. I forget I am Satya. I forget I am Gnana. I forget I am Ananta. I become limited to a time. I become limited in knowledge. I become limited to this body, to this object, or to this thought. See, the continuous attending of the I brings this revelation within to recognize that I am actually pure existence, pure consciousness. Therefore, I am pure Ananta. And therefore, this error of mixing it to an object is what causes the problem. That, therefore, attending to the attending to the feet of the Guru by repeatedly inquiring to whom is this, who am I, in the Gnana Marga, that clarity comes by constant inquiry and diligent inquiry. Then the wrong identification with the body goes away. That is what is called here as the Gnana. The Agnana goes away. The Agnana is the Chit Jada Granthi, then limiting the awareness to a body. And that is seen as the source of all the problem. And therefore, one now attends to the pure existence, pure awareness, which is pure Ananta, which is not limited to anything, not even to a thought, not limited. Limit. One will be very careful not to limit to a thought or to a body in any which way, because then it will become limitation. That is how the Ajnana is given a reality. When one recognizes, that is the grace of that self which makes it possible, the Gnana comes about. Then all the fear which is caused because of the ignorance, indescribable ignorance, says Bhagavan here. Just we know what all fear we can get when we are identified with the body. One I may not need to explain. Each of us have different types of fear. The fear of this body is being dead, the fear of this body becoming, if crippled or something, mentally, physically, fear of what about my food tomorrow, fear of so many things. When the Ananta Vastu is limited, as though this body will always be there, therefore always I need to plan for my money. It appears all of that mixture of Ananta and Anta, what all it creates, we know. And Bhagavan is saying that fear will go away because one understands that one is not that one is the pure Gnana Swarupa, the Ananta Swarupa. And Bhagavan goes on to say that worship performed with devotion and reverence, when we recognize that, is what we need to be conscious of, diligent of. And that alone is the saving grace. If we abide in that truth, whatever this body has to do, whatever has to come, like how Bhagavan lived, the Ramanashramam happened, people came, the growth happened, everything Bhagavan calls it as automatic divine action. Like in the sun, how everything else happens. In the sunlight, all the photosynthesis, rain, everything happens in the world. Like that, in that pure existence, pure awareness, when we are in that Ananta Mauna, not identifying with any object, then we understand that that worship, that meditation, or that tapas that we do is the, when we have devotion and reverence for it, then it is the true mantra, says Bhagavan. That is the real mantra for the noble disciples, for those who want to really transcend this limitation, for the noble ones. That is the true mantra. That is attending to that I, uninterrupted Ananta Vastu, in whom the dispassion is strong. One has recognized now the dispassion to the ignorance is to be given, to objectify is to the body or to a thought. That dispassion, diligently we should do it. Once that is understood, then all these auspicious, inauspicious vasanas will dry away. When we attend to that I, which is the feet of the Guru, and it is itself, that attention itself is the ajapa japa, that is the mantra japa that is going on, or the mantra yoga that is going on, which will destroy the mind, ignorance, and bestow gnana, the truth. And that worship is said to be the true mantra. That is what Bhagavan is saying here. The abundant grace of Bhagavan, with which alone we have come to this most direct path. It is direct path because it establishes in the feet, which alone is the I. How? By inquiring every thought. All thoughts are objectifying, including when we inquire, who am I? And recognize the error that we are objectifying ourselves, limiting ourselves, though we are the Ananta Vastu, to a thought or to an idea or to a concept. And when we inquire, who am I? And get back to the real source, that Sat Chit, that is pure existence and awareness, which is Ananta. When we attend to it without a thought, there's no thoughts, all thoughts are limiting. When we understand that, when we do that, that is the true mantra which destroys all the vasanas and bestows gnana, says Bhagavan. With the abundant days of Bhagavan, for the next 10 minutes, let us practice Atma Vichar. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Moving on to the next verse given to us by Revati to meditate on. This would be verse number 633 from the book Guru Vachaka Kovai. This verse is from the chapter Meditation on the Truth, and from the topic The Birth of Misery. The verse is, you should redeem yourself by thinking without thought of the divine grace of God. How can this be accomplished? By sprouting forth and rising up as I, to destroy the outward moving attention of the ghost like ego that proclaims itself as I. Seek the I and abide firmly in Mauna, wherein you remain as that. I repeat the verse. You should redeem yourself by thinking without thought of the divine grace of God. How can this be accomplished? By sprouting forth and rising up as I, to destroy the outward attention of the ghost like ego that proclaims itself as I. Seek the I and abide firmly in Mauna, wherein you remain as that. So, here, very much connected with the last verse, instead of the Guru, the word God is used. And Bhagavan keeps saying the Guru, the God, the Self, Brahman are all synonyms. And the grace of that Guru. And what is that grace? We always keep referring, what is that grace? We have an experience of the grace. But how does that grace? It's not that the grace is absent right now. Bhagavan is trying to say that grace, the Guru, the God is all one and the same. How is that grace? That grace, Bhagavan is saying, is in the form of that Mauna, is in the form of thinking without thought. Because the thought is the limitation. Thought is the way that truth is becoming limited to an object. Thought is the way by which the ghost like ego, which limits the unlimited to the limited, happens. So when we inquire about that I, and we recognize our natural swarupa is that of truth, our natural swarupa is of that pure awareness, pure existence, and which is infinite, which is in everything. All that we are seeing, even with the open eyes, whatever we are seeing, we say it's all existing. It is all I'm aware of. That one, which is also one, which is also within this body as pure existence, pure awareness. Like the 10th man story, we don't see that. See, in the 10th man story, we feel very amazed. How can these people count the other 9 and forget oneself? We feel that it is impossible. But that same possibility is happening with us. We forget the existence. We forget that we are pure awareness. We take it for granted. We take this body to be real and count all other things, look for the truth all other ways. When we say, I am in Agnana, when will this Gnana come? Like the 10th man, we forget ourselves, that sentient thing which can know. It doesn't count itself. The awareness which can know everything, which can give light to Agnana and Gnana equally, that we forget. Like the 10th man. In the 10th man story, we feel very amazed to see or amusing to see how can he forget not counting himself. But when it comes to ourselves, we do that blunder very easily. So when we recognize the blunder and when we make the course correction properly, that we are always, when we attend to objects, when we attend to, here it is called the outward attention. Outward attention is limiting oneself to something, either to a thought, to a concept, to a body, to a world, something. When that is destroyed, that is seen to be the source of all problem, and therefore one doesn't do that and how do we do? By attending to the grace. That is the grace. That is thinking without thinking. We understand all other ways is thinking without thought. All other things are limiting. And when we see that, and when we remain in that grace and destroy all outward movement, then we don't sprout forth and rise as I. Then the ghost like ego, which proclaims, which can limit the unlimited to the body, when that is seen and by the inquiry, then in that mauna, that is thinking without thought, because we are experiencing the ananta as ananta. We are not limiting the ananta to anything. When we remain in that is the real attention to the I, to the real I of the I of the limited ego, ghost-like ego, the true I. That is what Bhagavan calls as I. And in there is no thought. We are already that. Therefore, there is no need to do any effort. That is natural. Therefore, their mauna alone prevails, where we remain as that. That is the way to redeem oneself, says Bhagavan here. And that is the way we redeem ourselves from the miseries, which is something similar we looked at in the last verse as well. So Bhagavan here is giving us to recognize how the grace is, the mauna. By recognizing we are the Brahmavastu, Satyam, Gnanam, Anantam, we are the Anantavastu. Whenever what we need to be watchful is becoming objectified, becoming limited, though we are the unlimited. And the moment we limit ourselves, all other problems come along with it. Time comes, space comes. So we become the untruth, something which will perish. We become agnani, limited to this object, though we are the truth. So the thinking without thought, thinking without objectifying, that is being completely aware but not objectifying oneself. When we do that, that is the real mauna, that is the real grace. And when we abide in the grace, and Bhagavan says, all other things of the body and the mind and all the world will automatically happen as the automatic divine action. That is the true freedom. We redeem ourselves from doership, knowership, all the miseries, as Bhagavan was saying, indestructible miseries, he was saying in the earlier verse, because of the ignorance, indestructible ignorance, all the miseries which come. We now know all of that. We are already aware of what of those miseries could be. It is Ananta. That also appears many. But now it is all destroyed when we recognize ourselves as the pure grace, which is the pure awareness, not objectifying itself here and now in that mauna. The abundant grace of Bhagavan, with which alone we have come to this most direct path. For the next 10 minutes, let us practice that Atma Vichara whenever we are objectifying ourselves. For diligently, Bhagavan says, inquire who am I, get back to the source, get back to that truth, that Satya Vastu, that Ananta Vastu, that Jnana Vastu that we are, pure awareness, the pure existence. Diligently make sure that you don't get objectified. And then, therefore, that Ananta is experienced. The limitation will fade away, the unlimited will shine forth automatically. And in that Mauna, all the vasanas, all the problem will be destroyed. That is the true grace. That is how we attend to the grace continuously, says Bhagavan. That invoking that grace, let us meditate for the next 10 minutes. Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. I request Ujwal ji to give the summing up remarks.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. I remember a Sufi story where there is a group of moths. The moths are usually attracted towards the fire or a light. And among these moths, there is one scholarly moth who is very, very wise. And it talks to the other moths around it, and it says, is there anyone who can understand this, the flame of the candle? Who understands and who has realized the light of the candle? So one moth says, I will go and find out what is this light, and it goes close to that flame and it comes back. And the wise moth says, no, you have not understood what is the flame. And the one more moth goes very, very close to that light and even get little burnt, and then it comes back with that burnt wound and it says, I think I have understood what is the flame. And the wise moth says, no, even you have not understood what is the flame. And there is one more moth which goes directly into the center of the flame and gets completely burnt. And the wise moth said, yes, this moth has understood what is that light, what is that flame. So Ramana says, the grace is all enveloping. The grace is in the beginning, grace is in the middle, and grace is in the end. So the only way of redeeming ourselves is to remember that grace which is all enveloping. And how do you remember it? Here Muruganatha Swami says, to think without thinking. How can this be accomplished? He asks in the next line. This can only be accomplished only by becoming that light. He says, just like how that flame becomes big and consumes the moth, our little I, which is the ghost like ego, which is making us turn outward. The light of the I should arise and it should envelop this I. And this is only possible when the outward turned I should turn within towards that true I and abide in that mauna. Then alone we can be redeemed of all our problems and worries. And that grace alone exists. And Ramana says, the grace is the another name for self. And he also says, the Guru, the God and the self are one and the same. So when we are meditating on that all-enveloping grace, we are actually meditating on the twin feet of Guru or the God. And when we are meditating on that twin feet of the God, it removes all the vasanas. He says there are two kinds of vasanas. One is Shubha and one is Ashubha vasanas. What are these vasanas? Vasanas are the habits that we have cultivated and holding on within us from many, many eons, many, many janmas. And these vasanas, they make us move towards something good, or they make us do some mistakes. It makes us move outward, and it makes us filled with fear. When we are moving towards something, seeking happiness somewhere, we are filled with fear, indescribable fear of ignorance. We don't know what is going to happen. We don't know are we going to get the fruit or not for our actions. We are always worried and anxious. And Ramana says that these vasanas can be annihilated completely only when you turn within and worship that grace which is all enveloping, that grace, that self which is ever present. Turn towards that presence of the self. All these vasanas only manifest as thoughts, and these thoughts are not ever present. They come and go, come and go. And all these thoughts are only because of our limited identity called the ego. But we are not this limited identity. We are that Ananta, that self which is limitless, that grace which is all enveloping. So, whenever the thought arises, Ramana says, don't turn your attention towards the thought outward. Quickly ask the question, for whom is this thought? And turn back to that twin feet which is there within your heart with the question, who am I? And abide and hold on to that feet. That feet is the question, who am I? And that very same question will take us deep into our own true nature, which is Mauna. And getting back to that Mauna, which is the basis for every existence, alone is the path to be redeemed from all the worries and sorrows and to be in that limitless bliss. So Ramana has come in these form of these. When the dawn of jnana happens, this truth is understood, and Ramana is that jnana suryan who is ever shining. We just have to turn towards that surya. Surya is always there. The sun is ever shining. It is the earth which moves away from the sun and says, I am in darkness. But when the earth again turns back towards the ever shining sun, then it gets clarity and the jnana, the light of jnana. So let us all turn towards that Atma Surya who is ever shining and who is ever guiding us through these beautiful verses that he allows us to meditate on. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Ujwal. Now I request Vaibhavji to chant the Ramana Shtotra, Vaibhavji and Pratnama, and let us meditate on the twin lotus feet of the Master.
नमो रमण भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितम् श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवादिराशे यस्योर्मिमातरम् भुवनं समस्तम् गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः ॐ गुरवे नमः ॐ अखण्डसंविदाकाराय नमः ॐ महौजसे नमः ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः ॐ जगदितावताराय नमः ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः ॐ तीव्राय नमः ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः ॐ इन्दुमौळिना पितृमते नमः ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः ॐ तपोमयाय नमः ॐ उदासीनाय नमः ॐ महायोगिने नमः ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः ॐ सवित्रे नमः ॐ स्थिराय नमः ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजतचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलऋग्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्न संशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋचान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगविषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृद्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकरात् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. Thank you, Vaibhavji. Thank you, Prathanama. Namo Ramana to all.